Welcome to TalkNorth.com. Thanks to our longtime producer, Brandon Morton. Please download before you listen. If you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach us at talknorthpodcast@gmail.com. And please follow us on Twitter at TalkNorthPod. Two promo codes to be aware of. BiteSquad.com. Use the promo code TalkNorth to get your first delivery free. And go to SodaStick.com, the great local apparel company. Use the promo code YouBetcha to get free shipping on any sized order. The Twins are playing the Yankees this week, and it matters. So, of course, I decided to go through my Rolodex and find someone who maybe played for the Yankees and played for the Twins and knows what it's like to be in a pennant race, knows what it's like to be on a championship Twins team. And I found him, Roy Smalley. You know what? Luckily for me, we already do a podcast together. Roy Smalley has been on FSN all last week broadcasting Twins games. I wanted to talk to Roy today. Usually we do the show later in the week. I want to do it early in the week because the Yankees are coming to town. It adds some perspective to what feels like a big series. This is part of the TalkNorth.com podcast network. This show is called Roy Smalley's Chin Music, also the Roy Smalley Show. And I'm fired up, Roy. Here's the thing. I have spent the morning doing hits around the upper Midwest about the Twins, and I'm sensing panic. And I find that hilarious on many fronts. But I also, I love it, and it drives me crazy. And I don't know how you feel about it, because I love the fact that people care enough about baseball right now. They care enough about the Twins that they're fired up about the Yankees coming to town. But I also, I hate being in this role. I keep on having to tell people, they could get swept by the Yankees this week, and that might not keep them from going to the playoffs. It might not keep them from succeeding in the playoffs. So I think the emotion's great, but we still have to be invested in the math of the long season.
It's really true, and fortunately, the players themselves don't get caught up in either the fact that this is a must-win series any more than they all are going to be, the rest of the year, or that this somehow is going to portend how they would do against the Yankees in the playoffs. I'm really firmly against these kinds of statements. Well, this series was supposed to be the one where the Twins showed that they could blah, 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 blah. There's no supposed to in baseball other than, you're supposed to give your best efforts all the time. You're supposed to want to win first and foremost, and you're supposed to work hard when things aren't going well as they were early in the season. You're supposed to work hard to try to get back to where you were. Those are the only supposed tos for me, and I'm just and anything. This is a big series because this race is tightened up, and the Yankees are good, and Cleveland's playing a lesser opponent. So you want to try to hold serve as best you can for when the schedule flips, and the Twins have a nice schedule here coming up starting in a week or so, and Cleveland starts having to play the same teams that the Twins have had to play. So it's a big series, just like the Oakland series was a big series, and so let's have fun watching it.
You played for the Yankees. First of all, thank you to Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com. Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent, works out of Champlin, Hoaglund, and Bite Squad, bitesquad.com for sponsoring the program. You played for the Yankees. I know I talked to Minkevich and Coomer and all kinds of other Twins who played for the Yankees, and they said it's just different. And for some players, it's different in difficult ways because they feel more pressure. For other players, they love it because they feel like it is constantly energizing. What was it like for you?
Both of those things. I mean, I think you feel both of those things. I don't know how to say this any better than it takes a lot of pride to wear those pinstripes. I mean, the history of that franchise, the players they've had there, how important it is, the Yankee baseball is all over that, Metroplex. I mean, it's an honor to play there. You wear the pinstripes with pride, and it is energizing. At the same time, it's a swirling circus of media and ownership and fan nonsense, and there's a lot of pressure to perform there. So, you have to be able to deal with all that. But I wouldn't have traded my almost 3 years in New York for anything. I was glad to come back to the Twins. I was rewarded with being a part of a World Series championship team at the end of my career. But there in late middle of my career, I had a good time playing in New York.
So the Twins bullpen has been struggling of late, and they've tried a lot of different pieces out there, and I'm sure they're going to try to make a trade or two to bring some depth, if nothing else. They also have Cody Allen and Fernando Romero, who I think could get a shot here in the next couple of weeks, even if not for no other reason, just to give them a look. It's constant flux. It's also interesting that statistically, the biggest difference in the Twins during this slowdown. By the way, Roy Smalley predicted this slowdown, mini slump, whatever you want to call it. He looked at the schedule of the Twins' injuries and everything else, said, "Hey, this might be a rough stretch," and then I think the Twins are going to bounce back, late July, early August, which is exactly the way it's gone so far. The interesting thing, Roy, is, and Lavelle looked this up the other day, when they were, on top of baseball, they were scoring 6 runs a game, and since then they've been scoring 4.7 runs a game. So for you, do you look more at the Twins' bullpen struggles or the fact that the offense, for whatever reason, has slowed down?
It's both. I mean, I think it's clearly both, and it's not just that there's. I mean, the 4.7 runs a game as opposed to 6 shows up most notably in some of the big innings they're not having here of late. I mean, different guys are still battling through. They're hitting some home runs, a lot of solo home runs. So, I mean, it's not like it's been awful. They're not striking out at undue rates. They just have, because of the injuries, and then guys come back and they're not as sharp, and then other guys going a little bit of a downturn, which happens all season long with hitters, up and down. It comes and goes, and when it goes for more than a couple of guys at the same time, you're not going to score as many runs, and you don't hit as well with runners in scoring position and all that kind of stuff. So there's been a little bit of that, but through all of that, from an offensive standpoint, they've hung in there with the starting pitching, and they've been in all the ball games. Even the ones they haven't won, they've been right there. So could the offense deliver a little bit more? Yes. Has the bullpen been an issue? Yeah, it's been an issue. There's no question about it. And this is a team game. I was thinking about this the other day. This is a team game in this way, because it's primarily an individual game. Nobody can help you when the ball's hit to you. You got to catch it, and then you have to throw it to where you're supposed to throw it to, and nobody can help you do that. And when you walk up to the plate, you're really all by yourself. And when you're standing out there on a mound as a pitcher, you're all by yourself. Nobody can help you. It's a conglomeration of individual efforts and performances for the most part. But here's where it's a team game, and that is there will be times when the pitching is really pretty good, and the team's not hitting, and there'll be times when the team is overcoming all pitching woes because they're killing the ball. And then there are times, like we've been in the last 3 or 4 weeks, where nothing is totally bad. Even as rocky as the bullpen has been, they've been in all games. It's not, except for maybe one Mets game explosion. It hasn't been. There haven't been blowouts. It's been 1 and 2 run, losses, even with the rocky bullpen. And when you go through those kinds of streaks, then as a team, one of the other components has to pick it up, and the offense. I think you can you can lay it at the offense as much as you can anywhere else. Not that it doesn't happen, because it does. I mean, guys can't hit at a torrid pace all season long. Hitting comes and goes. But you can't just point at the bullpen when the games have been this close and ignore the fact that the offense could have had big innings several times and taken control of the game and didn't do it. So in that way, it's a very, very much a team game where some component every once in a while just needs to step up and be a little bit better than they've been. And we've got two components that way right now with the offense and the bullpen. And at least one of them's got to get fixed here in a hurry.
I want to ask you about Trevor May and A-Ray Adrianza. First, I want to thank Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com. I keep bouncing back and forth between the Bull Run House Blend and the Bull Run French Roast, trying to decide what my favorite is. Bull Run is Berry Coffee's house brand. Roy and I have been out to their roaster and have drunk it, have had it right out of the spout. It's fantastic, but it's just as good as at home because they keep it so fresh. That's the thing. I mean, they send it to your house. I think it's UPS. I mean, they make sure that they get it to you while it's still incredibly fresh. You're not dealing with a national company that might be shipping in from anywhere. You're getting it from local people who make sure you get it while it still tastes its absolutely best. They will also sell you the equipment that makes it, as well as you can make it anywhere. I basically stopped going to coffee shops because I can make better stuff at home than I get in coffee shops. So check out Berry Coffee, berrycoffee.com. I've come to the conclusion that between Trevor May, Cody Allen, and Fernando Romero, if they can get one or two of those people to a point where they're contributing, that might be, what wins the division for them or what makes them a formidable postseason team. And watching Trevor May pitch lately, listen, he's hung some breaking pitches at bad times and gotten crushed. But I've also seen a guy who was willing to throw 49 pitches on Sunday when they absolutely needed him to, and who's throwing like 98 miles an hour. I feel like, and you're the expert, so I want you to just give me your view of this and correct me if I'm wrong. I see a guy who, with just a little bit of tweaking of either mentality or breaking pitch mechanics or pitch selection, could be really valuable.
I think that's right. Trevor May's a bulldog. He's willing to take the ball. He's a bulldog, physically, i.e. the 48 or 49 pitches he threw the other day, and he is also a bulldog mentally. He wants to go out there and compete. And the pitches that he fails to make, the hanging curveballs or the ball three counts, it's not a mental issue. It's not a I'm scared issue. He is. I think he's a great mentality to have in the bullpen as well. But he is a little off. There's no question about it. There's something with Trevor has to change. I would say two things. He's got to throw more strikes with his fastball. He gets himself in way too many 2-0 and 3-1 counts by number one, not commanding the fastball well enough. And you're right. He's throwing 96 to 98. You have to punish hitters with strikes all the time and not let them see a lot of fastballs and then get in 3-1 counts where they know exactly what the fastball looks like and they're sitting all over it. So that's one thing. The other thing is he's got to come up with a consistent breaking ball, and it's frustrating for everybody, and I'm sure for him. But he maybe is one of the most frustrating guys to watch in that you see this stuff go up there, 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He struck out guys yesterday in and around, giving up runs that has frustrated everybody, but just nasty breaking balls. Unhittable breaking balls. And so you see 97 and you see this great breaking ball. And so the tweak that you're asking for is figure out how to throw that breaking ball consistently where you want to and not and not have so many tend to hang in the middle of the zone. Because for whatever reason, as good as that breaking ball is, when he throws it in the middle of the zone, it gets whacked pretty good. And I'm not exactly sure why hitters seem to see that as well after seeing a 97, as they do after seeing a 97 mile an hour fastball. But I mean, I think it's been demonstrated enough times now that that as